trying to reach towards their new projects.
I don't think
which
for
is still,
competitive
I
Halo,
think
there are a lot of
Sketch alluded to
guns
it
to
in
add
like
in.
their update originally back in like February. And you know,
They're
that's
not be
cool
playing
to
Fiesta
hear,
again,
but
like year
it's not
one.
enough for the time being, because we're getting operations that have no new content. The Banished Honor update just came out yesterday. No actual new content. Still no new weapons, no new equipment. The existing stuff, buffs, nerfs, are so minor and are things that probably should have been addressed much earlier on. Like, you know, Plasma Pistol getting its EMP effect back. It's something that's small, but I know it meant a lot to, you know, people that have played Halo for so long. It's just like, that's the kind of stuff they're putting out now, 2.5 years into this game. There's no like meta-defining shifts, and I think the meta-defining shift
takes them too long
to some degree was, you know, that at least for us comp players, that was the off season. But I feel like this is why people
like,
really don't want to stick around with Halo, at least in the current landscape of
if Halo takes a break again until the new title.
Is like, if I'm a person that's playing Warzone or playing COD, they're probably getting shifts on, you know, maybe there's a certain like spectrum of like, maybe there's too much change and then not enough. And I feel like Halo is in the not enough bundle of like, they wait 4 to 6 months to make any change, and when they do, it's probably very small. And maybe some games, I don't know, like COD or Fortnite, I think was a prime example. At least their competitive is, you know, kind of interesting, but they're making changes all the time before their major tournaments and things like that. So it's just one of those things that's like, there has to be, I feel like, a more healthy balance, making some more impactful changes within months of downtime, because the game that we're playing right now, the 1st of May, is the same, basically the same game that I was playing back in October after the off season, and that just shouldn't be the case. That's my opinion, but that just should not be the case. Full stop. If you want to keep people interested and get people re-engaged, it's like, oh, now the Bandit shoots a little bit different. The BR's actually changed. The BR is different. The Bandit's changed. The Commando's actually useful now. The Shock was super OP. Now it's not. Stalker, same. Like, oh, the Skewer hasn't been on any map in a year.
What's different about the Shock? It should be nerfed. Okay, got you. I misheard. I was like, well, I was so confused. Thought I missed an update. I'm like, what the?
Or, you know, there's never been a Hydra. Like, that's why I kind of mentioned these things. It's like, there's no, like, even if it's small, like, that's actual small changes in my mind, is like adding a new weapon to a competitive map that wasn't there prior. And it's like a actual small change that has a larger impact. Not, oh, the sidekick now shoots 0.2 points of a differential on the fire rate, like whatever that means in the actual logistics of the terms that they're working by. And it's like, okay, that's does something. I can definitely tell a difference.
Do you think 3v3 should be making changes to HS during the season or only during the off season? I think both. For the most part, I think you should have changes, the majority of changes in the off season, and then, you know, some changes later on. If all the pro players are aligned with this, I'm not sure why 3v3 can make changes easily. If all the players are aligned, there will always be complaints and not everyone will be happy. I think it's difficult. I think, like, just like before I keep watching the video, I think it's difficult because pro players don't always agree, which is normal. I mean, it is what it is. People are going to have different perspectives of the game. People are going to have different perspectives of maps and modes and weapons and this and that. And then from a pro player standpoint, being myself, I've been pretty vocal about it. Like, I just don't, the reason why I don't really even waste my time is because I just don't think if I say anything, it's going to change, truth be told. Like, I know Tommy was saying yesterday, I know Tommy said yesterday in his stream, I was in there, and he said like something like he feels like if he doesn't say something on Twitter, like he feels like he's the only one who's complaining. He has to like step up to say something, for there to be any kind of like even talk, essentially. And I think, at least from my perspective, I mean, he's probably not wrong in the way that he feels, but I just feel like from my perspective, going back to like year one, if you guys have followed me a long time, I mean, I've talked about it, I've posted it, I've made tweets and done, you know, made tweets and messaged people and this and that, and like, just nothing gets done for the most part. It just feels like if you're not on one team, it doesn't feel like your feedback is really heard or cared about, you know? So difficult from my perspective. It's like I'm just not going to keep wasting my time on it. But that's just before we get back into the video. But yeah, that's just like my perspective. I mean, like I said, you can go to my Twitter, going back to year one. I don't tweet a lot. You can literally go find it. I talk about spikes and heat waves and this and that and vetoes and everything. Captain Clutch, thanks so much for the prime, homie. I appreciate you. And if you go like look at the replies of that, like you don't even see like a pro reply to it, you know? Then you throw in the factor of just ignore pro players on that standpoint, and you go into 343 and developers, and it's like, Tommy's an easy example because he's nice enough to make a video to share his thoughts, and he's obviously tweeted about it, which is great on him. But it's like Tommy put out a tweet talking about the Bandit as an example when the Bandit had come out, and Tashi had replied to it and was like, you should talk to, like, you and Hines need to talk or something like that. And like, I just don't feel like that. Like, if I tweet stuff, I just don't feel that same feedback or that same kind of recognition. And I never have. This goes all the way back to Halo 5 when I was a big, I tried a lot in Halo 5 to get us on the right settings and get us on the right track of what I thought was competitive, which honestly, like, from my standpoint, I mean, hey, listen, this is me, so I'm being biased in the way that I feel about it, but like, I didn't have to. We were winning a lot, and I didn't have to, even when we were winning in 2016, and I'm pushing for no radar, or at least ability radar, and no ARs. Like, I mean, we're winning $1 million tournaments. Like, it doesn't. Why would I don't even need to, because it doesn't necessarily benefit me. But for the benefit of the game, I was still trying, and yeah, nothing ever got done. I mean, we were dealing with different people back then too, but I mean, you can go look. Brad literally tweeted, when are we changing the fire rate? He tweeted this yesterday, Brad being Frosty. When are we changing the fire rate on the Bandit? Time to kill way too fast for now. I feel like I'm playing COD. He tagged Hines in it. No developer reply. I'd have to ask Brad, but we scrimmed. He didn't say Hines like DM'd him and said something, or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, that's just from a standpoint of feeling like you're on your own complaining about it. I mean, it's fair because it's probably not inaccurate, but unfortunately, it's a feeling that developers don't care about pretty much everybody's feedback except for a couple people. And, why are you going to keep doing the same old if it's not working?
But that's what we get.
Sounds super defeated. It is defeated.
For like a weapon. The sniper, now you pick it up and you can ready it a little bit faster. Okay. That's good. I think that's actually a good thing. But here we are, again, 6 months into like the season, like the HCS season almost, even though I guess it was the off season. It's like, that's still the same game I was playing in October. And they, again, maybe they're just giving up. That's the feeling I think everyone can kind of feel to some degree, is like, just,
new
we're moving on. So on to the next. We're basically full stop, just getting out of Infinite, and we're only going to put out cosmetics. That costs $30 for a bundle. The most ridiculous pricings, I think, possible, to just kind of almost get as much backing into the studio while they're moving on from the current people that are supporting their game. Like, it seems like HES,
it's about your job position at the end of the day,
some degree HES, but mostly 343 just as the broader company higher ups. The dev team themselves, the people that are doing the work, are just being told what to do, and they make their own decisions gameplay-wise, but the majority of the time it's like higher-ups. And, there's been a big shake-up. There's a lot going on. And I think the future of Halo still can be... And, again, with Infinite and where it was, I was very excited. I'm like, oh, we got this Season 5. It seemed like the content drought, the roadmap was really finally coming to, like, full circle. It was really opening up. Possibilities are really opening up. And that completely just got shut off. Like, as soon as the light... at the end of the tunnel, like, you come out, it's like, oh, that was actually just like a flashlight in another or in the rest of the tunnel, and you're actually still in the tunnel. It's like, that's the feeling that I feel like just happened with the Season 5 aftermath into now. And we're actually going to be in it, and we're going to be in it for a long time, I imagine. There's no way that a new Halo game's coming out this year, like, that's just not going to happen. Even next year is a super push, if possible. And so, again, that's just where the frustration comes from. I think for me, at least, while I'm streaming, while I'm playing, there's just been frustrations with the gameplay and certain aspects, the lack of content, the lack of originality and things, and novel ideas coming out to kind of change the feel, to make it feel like I'm playing something interesting and new and exciting. But that just hasn't been there for a while. Like, we got that back in October. for a bit. I still think even with a game that is reducing its support,
They're working on
there
a new
should still
title,
be certain minimums required and minimums they should be shooting for that are just super surface value that actually would be very like meaningful. And again, at least from the comp standpoint for me, that just means like some new weapons in the sandbox. The existing sandbox, the existing maps. We don't need brand new maps all the time. We could just, you know, change up what's already existing in the current landscape. Alluded to the shop prices a few minutes ago and like how it feels disrespectful to, I would say, you, to me, all of us still consuming, you know, this game and its content because we want to support
Seems
the
like a
game,
money
but it just
grab,
feels
yeah,
like
for
the
sure,
game
bro.
343 doesn't want to actually support us. I think 343, old leadership and new, are now experiencing at least a similar vibe, a similar aspect of just, all right, we're cutting our losses. It's on to the next one. Like, what can we do to really minimize and get the most out of the current situation, the current population of everything going on, and do very little and move on a lot more to the next. And they did that with H5, did that with MCC, or they did that with MCC.
Next tournament.
Did that with H5.
Beginning of June.
And now it's repeating again with Infinite. And this is like another, like, have they not learned their lesson? Like, this just feels like, oh, the new leadership should kind of understand. They make some, I feel like, some good decisions. Some good things are happening. There's some very impactful, meaningful changes happening. And it's like almost like a revert back to the old to some degree. That's just like what it feels like, which is just really, really odd.
Yeah, there's an open this weekend.
With
the
pattern, the good pattern that was developing. So I really hope some news, some actual news comes out eventually about what is new to actually feel excited about Halo. A bit more excited than I feel right now about Halo. I still enjoy Infinite, especially whenever it feels like it's actually working out. Shots are counting, like that type of, you know, general BS that's always plaguing this game. Probably always will. Hopefully the next game is not the same in that regard, but we'll find out, I guess. You know, at the end of the day, one thing I can still say is I still appreciate, especially the HCS. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom and hate, especially like in regards to HCS. I really don't hate these guys at all, and they really do try pretty hard a majority of the time to at least keep us going. At least we have events. At least we have things to play for. At least for myself and obviously my team, we have a livelihood, and every other pro player, we have a livelihood tied to this. So I think that's where like the passion, the frustration comes out of it. Like, this is directly tied to like how I make my livelihood, my money, and many others. And again, I just love Halo. I want to see Halo succeed. I want to see it thrive. And I think we all do. And that's how it always has been. You normally never get stuff done without grievances. And I don't know if this video has any impact. I just hope that I kind of have this feeling right now that like there needs to be more discussions about all of these things compared to what we've had. Everyone kind of has, at least from the competitive side, a sort of apathy again towards everything going on. Everyone's almost in like a sit still and wait and just like don't give any feedback anymore because it just won't matter. I think that's kind of the realm that we're in once again, and that's just really frustrating. It's really sad to kind of be back here again, like how it was with H5 towards the end of it. And I just don't want to see that happen again. I just think Halo, even Infinite, I feel like is in too good of a spot. It's in too... I think it's in a better spot than what Halo 5 even was.
You probably spoken on this before, SB. Why do you think we don't have the same energy for competitive Halo as we did in the MLG days? Are the games just getting worse, or... It's a little bit of a combination of everything, honestly. Ray, thanks so much for the prime, homie. It's a little combination of everything. Halo in general, in terms of playability, has lost a lot of people, so we don't have the same steam. They cut a lot of ties because, like, from a developer standpoint, because they're working on a new title, we've kind of been like kind of open about that without being open about it. From a HES standpoint, on like some of the issues that we have with competitive and like / developer, like developing issues, like what Lucid's talking about a bit. It's just a thing of it being like too corporate. You know, when you talk about the MLG day as an example and saying like, oh, like, you know, like why do we lose steam? Like MLG was, you know, you could put MLG on a pedestal a bit when it comes to competitive Halo, but like the reality of MLG is MLG was its own separate entity compared to the developer. MLG took Halo 2 and specifically Halo 3. MLG was its own separate thing that wasn't controlled by a corporate world. And MLG took a game like Halo 3. Like, if you really look at Halo 3, as much fun as it was casually, we've talked about this a lot on the stream, so I'll try not to harp on it a lot. But it's like if you take something like MLG as an example, Halo 3, like they made that game competitive. Halo 3 wasn't competitive when it came out. Like when you really think about it and you go look at it and you look at the sandbox and this and that, I mean, they changed the movement speed, they changed the maps, they forged their own maps, they changed the layouts of it with weapons and all these different things. And like just don't have we just don't have that anymore because they're trying to tie the competitive game to the casual game, and in turn, everybody gets hurt because of it. Mangler nerf is an easy example. Like the casual community didn't want the Mangler nerf. Pro players need it because it doesn't work in pro play, and in turn, you get a nerf, and then inevitably the nerf doesn't work for us, and it still just gets taken out, and it's too little, too late. By that time, the casual community's hurt, the pro community's hurt. So the reason MLG thrived more is because it was just a completely separate, only focused on esport, only focused on what could be the best competitive title. And they were also like, I mean, be straight up about it. They were trying to thrive. Like MLG when it first came out was not like, they're trying to build. They're trying to build. How are you going to build? You're going to put out the best thing possible, like plain and simple. Not that they're not trying to do that with the game, but I mean, going back to the start of the game, obviously, again, same issue, developer and this and that. But like, yeah, it's just casual and competitive settings should not be the same. It can't. It shouldn't. It can't. It doesn't work in Halo. If you go through Halo history across the board, it has never worked. Like it just has not worked. And it's something that they have not grasped, essentially, that people do not want to play the same game casually that they're playing competitively. There are ties to it that you can make, but to act as though it is 100% needed is so silly and just, I don't know. It's like you didn't watch back in the day, I don't know. But that's kind of the issue of just with the MLG question.
Was to really allow it to reach that point yet again is kind of what I'm getting at. I think we will see how the rest of this year, how the rest of 2024 pans out. I really hope they stop gouging prices so heavily. I don't know why, really don't know why they are not selling individual pieces, at least in that regard, because we didn't touch on that too much, but like the shop is just something disgusting lately. Primarily any interesting like new stuff is just super overpriced and it's all super bundled, so that's just what we get, I guess, whenever we're at this point. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'll make another video if more things come to mind, or see how you guys respond to this video. I think I still will put out like a sort of rig step up your game video soon, because I know some people who have never played like Halo 5
You're so love you, baby.
really are interested in like how it should play and call outs and stuff like that too. I still have wanted to make new and interesting content. It's just, again, it's been kind of draining trying to put that much effort into it when it feels like it's not being given back. That's the kind of feeling that I feel like I'm stuck with right now. But, that's not necessarily an excuse, so I'm gonna still try to push out some more content here soon. So hopefully this was at least an interesting talk. I think that's gonna be it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for still supporting myself, my team.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything
Halo,
you said in the video is super accurate. I mean, I don't think anything, I'll see it, I'll agree, right? It's just same old, really same 2018 feeling. Wish it was different. Kind of already said everything there is to say about it, honestly. Like, from a pro player standpoint. I mean, even Tommy said it. He's like, there's just, people don't speak up and give feedback because, like, it's just not going to be different. So, like, what's kind of the point? I know Wes Clutch was in here yesterday, and he made a fair point, being like, well, it'd help if players agreed on stuff, and that's 100% fair. But yeah, it's just it's a tough realm of gaming in general, I think.